What's going on, fam? CA for Jesus here. Back with another episode of Seducing Spirits. This is episode 5. We're going to get into the topic of critical race theory. Now, I've been I've been meditating on this how I was going to make this video for well over a month now, and the reason why it took so long, it's not because I was worried about what people are going to think, because they're going to look at me. People are just going to look at me naturally that are very carnal, and they're going to think, "Oh, what's this white guy doing on here criticizing critical race theory? He's a racist." So I already know that that's going to happen, and so I really don't care. I'm going to call something demonic that I think is demonic, and this is absolutely demonic. But what took me so long is that it was like, all right, how do I articulate this? Because people are still, this doctrine is infiltrating our schools and is also infiltrating our churches like crazy, but people still don't really quite understand what it is, but what what it stems from. So let's take the term critical race theory. Sorry guys, stretching a little bit. So let's take the term. So let's look at critical. So critical race theory was borrowed from critical theory. Now, critical theory was born out of, stemmed from Marxism and also the Frankfurt School, which a lot of these activists and these philosophers and these quote unquote scholars came up with this idea, and they're all atheists, by the way. So let me just throw that out there as well. They all came up with this idea centered around, and they called it critical theory, which the basis of this doctrine is you have power relations between an oppressed group and the oppressor group. So when we look back at Marxism and critical theory, it is the or the bourgeoisie, which is the rich upper class, versus the proletariat, which is the poor working class. And basically, the bourgeoisie has power over the proletariat, and it's about revolution. Basically, it's about taking back their power. But it's like, okay, you take back the power, but then what do you have? I mean, it's not that I'm advocating for this class to rule over this class, but it's all rooted in communism when you think about it. And we know that, at least in America, we live in a free country. Now, that term is being used very, very loosely, but pardon me, guys. I'll let that go by real quick. Okay, so that term's being thrown around loosely these days, but we do technically still live in a free country, and in a free country where we have the way we have capitalism, and capitalism gives us free reign to, it's like, all right, you work your way up, and that, in a free society, we have decisions to choose whether we want to work at McDonald's and smoke weed all day and just be lazy, or we could work our way all the way to the top to be the CEO of some major company, whatever. We all have a choice in that. But with critical theory and communism, it's rooted in the fact that No, the reason why you're doing better than me is because you want to exert power over me, not because you worked harder than me. And yes, look, guys, I understand that, maybe, yeah, there's definitely are people that come from, uh, I don't even like to use the word privilege. That just like drives me nuts. It just like every time I hear that word, I just all I think about is like it's like victimhood, and God does not want us feeling sorry for ourselves. So I'm going to tie in why not this is not biblical in just a moment, but I just want to kind of lay a foundation here. So, yes, I grew up, my parents are teachers. I'm very just like middle class. I didn't grow up poor, so I didn't have to struggle too much, but I didn't come from some crazy wealthy family, so I had to work to a certain extent. But I ain't no victim, that's for sure. But people really buy into this belief because it tickles their ears. Just like when I talked about progressive Christianity, it's tickling your ears because it appeals to your flesh. And now let's tie in. We got critical theory, which says, "Oh, I'm oppressed. It's not because of the decisions that I made. It's because so and so at the top is trying to keep me down." Well, number one, look. Let's look at this. This is totally carnal thinking right here. If you're just looking at material things, it's like, okay, so maybe they have a five bedroom house, and maybe I live in an apartment, and why do they get to have that and I don't? And but that's envy. That's we're not supposed to be envious of people. That's one of the deadly sins. And number two, to be carnally minded is death, but to be spiritually minded brings everlasting life and peace. So, sure, maybe, yeah, obviously, all right, this person's doing better monetarily. From a worldly perspective, they're doing better than me, but what's their spirit like? God, God cares about your spirit. And by the way, a rich man can hardly make it into the kingdom of heaven. Now, it's not that doesn't mean that just because you have money and you have wealth that you're not going to inherit the kingdom of heaven. It's about your heart. If you have money, yes, you should be giving it back. You should be tithing. You should be helping nonprofits and doing what you can to stimulate the economy because you see a need for it. That's God. That's how you know your heart posture is in the right place. The love of money is the root of all evil, but money is also a defense. So that's the Bible being balanced right there. So that's enough on that. So now you take critical theory and add race in the middle. So now it's oppress. It's still under the umbrella, the idea of oppressor versus oppressed. Only now it's with skin color. Skin color. But then you also have, I talked about in my last video with witchcraft of intersectionality, which is another one of those victimhood garbage SJW mentalities, right? But intersectionality is under the umbrella of critical race theory as well, in the sense of, all right, I am a straight, white, middle class, Christian, able bodied male. So there's no way I could ever possibly be oppressed. There's no way that I could ever struggle or, I'm privileged. It's just sounds so stupid, like white privilege or whatever. And yeah, anyways, um, but then you have, let's take the other side of the equation. You have a black female Muslim disabled lesbian. They're the most oppressed group out of them all, and Um, you know, basically that's just how it's always going to be. And where it infiltrated in the schools first because they look at things like equity, and then they look at things like equality. So equality is everybody has the same opportunities. Okay, that's one thing, but just because we have the same opportunities doesn't mean there's going to be the same outcome. It's just not. I mean, certain people. I don't even want to. Like if we want to talk about race, okay. Uh, Majority of people in the NBA are black. Majority of people in the NFL are black, and the majority of track stars that run the 100-meter dash are black. Does that mean there's a problem? Does that mean that we have to have more white people as sprinters? There's inequality here. There's inequity, whatever. It's like, well, no. I mean, I could train to be a 100-meter sprinter, but if this guy, whether he's black or Asian or white or Latino or whatever, if he beats me, he beats me. It is what it is. It has nothing to do with black people are overrepresented in the 100-meter dash. Like, okay, well that then that's because that's what they're good at. All right. I mean, are white people overrepresented in hockey? Yeah. Well, generally hockey people who play hockey are white, and they play hockey in places like Canada where it's primarily white, and stems from that. Like, who cares? But if a black person wanted to play hockey and was talented enough, then he has a spot. It's just so dumb. Sorry, I digress a little bit, but I'm just trying to find the best way to just articulate this, because so many people I know have an issue with this, but we can't quite put our finger on it, and that's a form of witchcraft. It's confusion, right? And that is at the heart of what these God hating communists are trying to do. And they started with, like I said, the bourgeoisie and the proletariat, but then they saw that they can exert their and they can reinforce their agenda through race, and that's exactly what the devil does. If you guys go check out Ivan the Evangelist, he does an interview with the devil. It's called Interview with the Devil or Interview with Lucifer or something like that. And he gets this guy on camera, and he's wearing this like ugly mask with some horns and stuff. And one of the things he said, he's like, "Oh, my best tactic for dividing people is racism." He's like, he says something like, "I keep white people offended and I keep black people bitter." But I personally would say you're keeping white people that, because I fell for this too when I was super lefty SJW going to San Francisco State. At first I fell for all this white privilege stuff, and I fell for this was around the time when BLM had just came out too, and I fell into the trap of white guilt, and then I realized, I'm like, oh wait, no, this is totally demonic. This is just a way to keep white people guilty and to keep black people bitter. And what does God say about forgiveness? That if you can't forgive those who trespass against you, then I'm not going to forgive you. So, and again, for those of you who are carnally minded on here, and you want to put your skin color over, if you want to put your identity at, of your based around your skin color, which is a carnal idea. This is not a spiritually minded idea. If you want to put that over your Christian identity, then you're going to consistently be in this trapped mindset of bitterness, of unforgiveness, and and it, you got to realize that our identity as Christians supersede our identity as whatever skin color we are, because God does not even care about that. And that's the only way we're going to transcend all this madness, if we come together under the identity of, hey, I'm a Christian. I don't, whether black, white, polka dot, I don't care, man. We have to get over this. And people might say, oh, you just want to shut down the discussion about race. Well, it's like, dude, my whole life, I'm 33 years old. My whole life, we've been having discussions about race. What are you talking about? The discussion's been open, but people are getting tired, man, because you just want to perpetuate and highlight the problem, but you don't have a solution. The solution, which has been the solution the entire time, is Jesus Christ. And you have all of these black preachers specifically. I mean, you got these guilty jellyback white preachers too, that are perpetuating this demonic garbage because they use familiar language, familiar terms like social justice or lifting up, helping the poor, things like that. So when that gets infiltrated into the church, and when you don't have the proper discernment, when you don't have a spine, Satan's going to be plucking the heartstrings of these jellyback preachers. I heard that term recently from Daniel Adams, jellyback. It just basically means spineless, but jellyback preachers, man. So yeah, so shout out to Daniel Adams, man. I love that guy. But anyways, we have to understand that a lot of these, especially these black churches, they're using that for their own gain, and they're using BLM as a way to push their agenda in the church, to fill more seats, to get more money for the church, to get more money for themselves. And it's just absolutely demonic. And they're plucking the heartstrings there, but they're plucking the heartstrings in a way that makes white people feel guilty, and it perpetuates the unforgiveness that black people have for what for white people supposedly having it better. I mean, look, as I've said before, and when I said in my Christian diversity video, Christian diversity is our strength video, I'm not gonna discount if you've ever experienced racism, or if you ever had a bad experience with a police officer or something like that. I am not here to discount that at all. What I am here to tell you is that the only way you're going to get over that is the Word of God and Jesus Christ. Because we're called to love our enemies. We're called to pray for those who despitefully use us and persecute us. And it's no easy task, all right? But that's what we have to do, man, because Satan loves to see us divided, over things like race. I mean, he continues to just play that's like his favorite card to play. That's his favorite tool in his toolbox. And we fall for it every single time. We need to get smarter in these last days, guys. We need to come together. So yeah, so stop listening to these these beta male white preachers that are just all feeling all guilty about something that they didn't even do, or something that they don't have control over. And stop listening to these angry race baiter black preachers that want to team up with BLM, aka burn, loot, and murder. sorry guys, speech slurring a little bit, aka burn, loot, and murder, because let's just call it what it is. And the organizers, they're embezzling millions of dollars, tens of millions of dollars, buying mansions on the side, and you're just like, wait, what are you doing to help? What is your cause for again? I don't. I'm lost. I'm lost. So let's not fall for that trap anymore. Okay. It's emotional manipulation. It's witchcraft, and it's divination, and uh, it's all under. They're using very familiar language. But if you don't have discernment, you're going to fall for this trap every single time. But watch that video on Ivan the Evangelist interview with Lucifer. It's it is just spot on, and they touch on things like the alphabet agenda and even pedophilia and all that other stuff too. But for for this video, let's focus on this demonic uh, this demonic play of racism and perpetuating racism in our society. And like I said, guys, this concept of race is it's a very carnal thing. We are all descendants of Adam and Eve. I mean, we might we could also say we're descendants of Noah because of the flood and all that stuff. But we're all God's children, and we need to really focus on that. And again, for all you carnal people out there, you're gonna say, "Well, Alex, you're white. You don't understand." Blah 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 blah. Look, stop feeling sorry for yourself. Okay, I'm not discounting what you've been through, but you have a choice. Everybody has a choice. Do you want to stay in victimhood? Do you want to stay in that trap? Because the devil wants to keep you trapped. Let's look at this from a spiritual mindset, okay? The devil wants to keep us trapped in our circumstances, feeling like a victim, keeping us angry and bitter in a state of unforgiveness, in a state of guilt, in and focusing on things that happened in the past. But we're new creations, and if we're truly new creations, then our skin color just shouldn't matter, plain and simple. But I think I made my point. I know someone's going to come on here and call me a racist because I'm a straight white Christian male, able-bodied male. So I'm a racist. I'm the oppressor, and I don't know anything. But again, I don't care what you think. I care what God thinks, and God put it in my heart to make this video and to tell the truth. And as it says in Galatians, am I your enemy because I tell you the truth? No, I actually love you so much, which is why I want to tell you the truth. So, if you're getting offended, ask yourself why and pray on it and say, and just let's transcend this, guys. Like, this idea of critical race theory just drives me nuts. And I had to meditate on this one for weeks because I was like, how do I articulate this to a way to make it, for people to really understand what it is and why it's demonic, why it is not biblical. And yeah, so yeah, let's pray on it. Let's get it out of our churches. Let's get it out of our schools, and let's transcend this by if you like I said in my previous video about Christian diversity, God, or when Jesus comes back, he's not coming back to bring peace. He's coming back with a sword to bring division. But he's not talking about division between races or whatever. He's talking about the wheats and the tares. He's talking about the children of God and the workers of iniquity. Children of God and children of Satan. So which side do you want to be on? All right, because when I see people, I see children of God and I see children of Satan. That's what I see. I want everybody to be on the right side. So let's use our discernment. Let's keep our heart posture in the right place. And let's stop thinking carnally what's on the outside. Let's stop worshiping our skin and start worshiping our Creator. That's God. That's Jesus Christ, okay? All right. So I hope that this helped. I hope this helped y'all. I know this is a controversial topic, but that's exactly why we need to talk about it. Stop caring what man thinks. The fear of man bringeth a snare, but he whoso putteth his trust in the Lord shall be safe. That's Proverbs 29, verse 25. Meditate on that one. And yeah. All right, y'all. Hit that like button so I can get this message out to more people. Put your comments down below. Let me know what you think. If you think that I'm, some racist jerk, put it down below and tell me why you think that. If you agree with me, also put it down below. Tell me why you agree. Put your prayer requests down below as always. I would love to pray for you. Share this message with the lost sheep out there. Let's help some people. Let's help them to transcend their guilt, their anger, and to strengthen their discernment. Subscribe, of course. I love y'all. Have a blessed one.